So I wanted to do a quick little demo of this gain matching algorithm that I have been talking about. So here we are at our gain matcher, and we start by, this is the most novel part of this whole thing, shift clicking a nice wide region around both the peaks that we want to calibrate on, as that draws this little line. And the point of that is that gives us a nice tolerant range to go looking for the two relevant peaks we want. So you can see even with these four crystals with their wildly different gain, those two peaks are still the first and second peaks that intersect that line. You can imagine with a more complicated spectra, if you had one in the middle here, even though that might be a harder pattern to match in general, the two peaks we're interested in would be the first and third. And so after we draw that line, we specify that up here in the UI. So we say the first peak that I want is the first one that intersects the line, and here's its energy. And the second peak that I want to fit is the second peak that intersects the line, and here's its energy. The defaults correspond to Cobalt 60, but you can change them to be anything you want. So if we're happy with that, fire away. And we can actually see it going through all the different crystals, fitting the first and second peaks that intersect that line for each of them. Even as they kind of jump around with different gains, the peaks we're interested in are consistently those first and second intersecting peaks. So this takes a minute as it grinds through all the HPGE channels. Okay, and the fitter's done. It's gone through all the channels and reported what it found down here. So this looks pretty good. I see 1, 2 red highlighted channels that look a little suspicious, that maybe need some closer investigation. So it looks like 7 white is upset for some reason. Let's go have a look at 7 white. If we go in here, 7 white, I don't know, that looks pretty good to me actually. So it could be that the constraints on what looks weird according to the fitter are a little bit too tight. So right now it makes sure that the slope for each row is within 2 sigma of the full set of slopes, and the intercept is within, I think, 4 sigma, since the intercepts kind of jump around a lot. And it's probably this slope here. It's 1.1 compared to what looks like a lot of 1.2s, 1.3s kind of thing. So it might be a little upset that that slope is a little low, but it looks okay to us by eye. So let's click yes to writing that to the ODB. Now the other one that looks a lot worse is 10 red. Let's go look at 10 red here. 10 red, there we go. Zoom back out, okay. It looks like it only fit one of the peaks for whatever reason. So let's zoom in a little bit on the region of interest and hold its hand for this one. We'll refit the high energy peak. There we go, looks like a reasonable fit. If we head down here, 10 red now looks sensible, but it's changed the distribution slightly of slopes and intercepts, so now 9 white is kind of sticking out a bit. So let's go have a look at 9 white. 9 white, zoom out, zoom in there, and this looks like the first case, where these fits look pretty reasonable by eye to me, but it seems to be that, yeah, again, this slope is just a little bit low compared to the group of them, but that's okay. It's just an outlier. So we're happy with both of these. Let's check them both to write to the ODB. Everything looks okay. And then we can go in here, click the assure. I'm not going to write right now, but you then click this and go to write to the ODB. And that's it. That's how this algorithm works. And hopefully with this horizontal line intersection thing, this peak finding will be pretty robust against much more populated peaks compared to Cobalt, or much more populated spectra rather, compared to Cobalt 60. Yeah, that should do.